Hey everyone, welcome back to the Visually Stunning Movie Podcast. I'm Mark. That's Ryan. Hi Ryan.
Hello.
Let's talk about a couple movies that are already out. One in theaters, one on Netflix. Um, Talk about the theater first, because for you and me and other listeners of a certain age, this is a throwback.
Mm.
It is The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie starring Porky Pig, and Daffy Duck.
Yes.
Um, they are the Earth's only hope
Mm.
when aliens invade.
Yeah, we're in a lot of trouble.
We're in a lot of trouble. So it's animated. It's an hour and a half. So it is a bona fide feature. Um, Looney Tunes back in the day would be hard to do. You can't show Looney Tunes from back in the day today without a trigger warning or a
Some of them.
content warning.
Sure, some of them. Yeah.
So I was a little concerned. Truth be told, I appreciate the fact that the style of animation remained the same.
Yes, for the most part, yeah.
It appears hand drawn.
Mm-hmm.
It's not 3D, all that good stuff. It's got two great characters. It doesn't have bugs, shocking, but they're probably saving him to see how this does, and bring him back in another feature. Even though he was in Space Jam 2 a couple years ago.
Yeah.
What a horrible movie that was. But yeah, it's nice to see someone trying to reutilize classics without quote unquote updating them, either in content or style.
Sure.
So from that point of view, I really did appreciate watching this. Whether the movie is actually any good it's hard for me now, because I look back at all the old stuff, and that stuff's not really that quote unquote good. It's a bunch of cartoons, generally speaking, beating each other up.
Yeah.
Which is great. It's still great. So I had to stop and think about whether I was being too rough on this one.
No, I mean, it's definitely lower brow entertainment, I suppose, rather than a highbrow entertainment. It's not Pixar. It's not trying to be Pixar either. It's
No.
not really trying to. I mean, we do have two characters. They are in a situation where they're about to, they might lose the house that's been given to them, and they've been told that, that despite whatever their differences are and whatever they should come up against, that they're stronger together than they are apart, basically.
Yep.
It's all based around them not getting their home taken away, that all this craziness kind of comes out. And I thought it was enjoyable. Again, I don't know. I think, the whole message of the film I probably just spelled out.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the two of them have a definite hard time of getting along completely. Although I think it's the sort of, brotherly rivalry sort of
Yes.
thing that I think one without the other they would miss the missing persons or creature, animal, whatever.
Yeah.
It was actually, I was expecting it to be a little more cosmic from the get go, and it wasn't initially, which is fine. It did get there, but um, I mean, I don't know how much the Looney Tunes brand, how much it speaks to younger audiences these days, or if it even has sort of pull to get older people to take younger people to them. But it's definitely the sort of it feels a bit nostalgic.
Yes.
And so I wonder how it would play to modern younger audiences who weren't aware. I think a lot of, as you said, there's some problematic things in some of the Looney Tunes, shorts that we were seeing into the 80s. There's some racial stereotypes and then things that are they're in there that perhaps aren't nearly as sensitive as they should have been, or for the time, um, no one thought twice about it, essentially. So, but none of those are really here. So that's you don't
which
really
in a
run
which
into
in a
that.
way kind of, and it's weird to say, it kind of, it takes the edge off the Looney Tunes,
Maybe a little
but
bit.
the edge of anything, there's a reason comedy is called edgy. There's a
Yeah.
reason humor is called edgy, because those edges make you uncomfortable. And that, if you're not uncomfortable, are you really thinking, I guess? You know what I mean? So I'm not saying you have to go full blown Song of the South,
No.
but but this, edges are important. So it's not this. So this isn't ruined. It's still, I mean, there's still violence. Daffy is an inherently violent being.
Well, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so there's a lot of violence. But there's not a lot of character on character violence, which again used to be a hallmark of Looney Tunes. So again,
well, and
there's
yeah,
it has grown up a little bit, and I say grown up, and I do say that in a bad way, because these cartoons are theoretically for kids. But I get the arguments. People slow your roll, don't call. Uh, but it is still, it's still enjoyable to watch these two adopted siblings try to compete yet cooperate.
yeah,
So it is, Petunia Pig shows up, so you get a little bit of a love interest there. That's kind of funny. You get some science, which is hilarious. But you get science in the same way you get opera with Elmer Fudd and Bugs Bunny. Um, so but it's enjoyable enough that you can take your kids to it. It's PG, which is actually kind of shocking now that I look at it. Um, but yeah, you can take your kids to it; they'll be fine. They'll be fine. And if you remember the Looney Tunes growing up, you should enjoy it well enough. It's one of those that it there's enough there to make everyone happy or unhappy, I guess, depending on how you look at it. So, um, yeah, that was kind of enjoyable, just generally speaking. Um, the other movie that is out came out on Netflix a couple weeks ago, and it's gotten a lot of buzz, both positive and negative, I guess. There's a lot of buzz positive coming into it, but then uh, when it came out, I started seeing a lot of negative headlines. It's called The
yeah,
Electric State.
yeah,
Um, Chris Pratt, Millie Bobby Brown on Netflix. Post-apocalyptic world in which robots and AIs were battled against. They were outlawed. You can't have any robots. But through a weird circumstance, Millie Bobby Brown winds up with a robot that has come to find her because her presumed dead brother is not dead.
yeah. The robot somehow has some of his consciousness.
Yes.
He can't speak really, except for in
In the
uh,
terms of the character of the
yeah,
robot that he inhabits.
yes.
So it's
It's
kind
kind
of
of
like if you possessed Buzz Lightyear, you could only talk in his catchphrases.
yes,
So it's
or
that idea.
Bumblebee from Transformers.
Yeah, there you go. That's actually a much better
Yes, you can only
comparison.
he yeah, he can use phrases and things from they're sports related if I remember correctly,
Yeah.
baseball specifically. I really like the look of a lot of this.
Yes.
I think the art direction on this project was great. I think that they really blaze through the robots versus humanity part. It's essentially a montage. It's a very enjoyable montage of
Yes.
people versus robots and of all sorts of different kinds. And, you know, there was a part of me that throughout the rest of the movie kind of wished I got to see more of that,
Right.
because that was maybe maybe I didn't need to see it to the extent of Michael Bay would have done it, and it would
No.
have added a, whatever, but to just go through this montage very quickly and to and I guess to a certain extent the whole idea of robots rising up against their creators is a very tired sort of trope, but there was an interesting spin on this. The birth of robots and intelligent robots dates back in this film to Walt Disney and Disneyland,
Yes.
and Disney didn't just create Disneyland as we know it. He created essentially robots that um, they were fairly intelligent robots at that point who then developed. And this film takes place in the 90s, which I don't know why it takes place in the 90s because it doesn't even really even use music from the 90s.
No, and the look isn't really there.
So I don't, I guess it's because they want to use footage of Bill Clinton. I don't know.
Baby.
It is based on a book, I believe, or at least a graphic novel, and maybe it makes more sense in the source material why it's the 90s.
Right.
In the same place, maybe, or same way that maybe Ready Player One
Yeah.
being set when it whatever its influences. Um, but this film also has a lot of the themes of Ready Player One in it. It feels like it also has a bunch of other robot movies in it.
Yep.
It feels like Star Lord is in it rather
Yes.
than, Chris Pratt, love him, hate him, whatever.
He has a
Um,
wisecracking sidekick.
yeah, I mean,
Sounds familiar.
this is just, it was so very much Star Lord that it was annoying to me. If a different actor plays it and plays it the same, it's probably not nearly as distracting. Um, but yeah, it just felt like he was playing a character we've already seen before. I don't know. I mean, I know that the Russo brothers have done tremendous work.
They have.
Um, Most of their tremendous work seems to have happened in the Marvel universe, and maybe some of the. I'm not as familiar with the TV projects they did prior to that. But I do know that the movies that they've done recently outside of the Marvel universe have all been lacking,
Yeah, I mean, because their last couple, they had the Gray Man, they had Cherry.
which, yeah, and this, and
Um,
none of them were particularly great.
yeah. Oh my God, Yumi and Dupree. Sorry, I thought they had done one other one, but I'm thinking of somebody else. Um, but yeah, so the Anthony and Joe Russo on this, written by Marcus and McFeely. Again, Marvel.
Yeah.
Um, some of the best Marvel. But in this one, I think the thing that this really has going for it, the Electric State has going for it, is the look.
Yes.
But it's let down by its script, which reminds me of another movie by a great um, director. Um, oh, God, and I was talking about it, and now it's gone. Um, it's the steampunk one,
The Mortal Engines or
Mortal
the
Engines. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's that is so the look on that is so fantastic,
Yeah.
and the world is built so wonderfully, and then the story just kind of falls down.
Yeah, and this is this one's supposed to be kind of uh, is it a mystery? How's the brother alive? Who's betrayed? Whatever. But it's never as interesting, really, as it really felt like it should be.
Yeah.
Again, I guess there's an attempt at some complexity of you have a robot hunter type character who
Giancarlo
begins,
Esposito, again, always
yes,
fabulous.
yes, who kind of feels like he may have picked the wrong side to a certain extent. Well, I don't know about that, but he's more conflicted. There's some, he goes on a journey of sorts, but
Yeah.
I don't know that we see enough of that journey. There's pieces here. And I don't know that it needs to be much longer, but maybe a 2 episode sort of 3 hour, maybe, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure
Yeah, it's
because
already 2 hours and 5 minutes.
yeah. So I
So
mean,
if you make it longer, you almost might as well make it like 3 1 hour episodes.
yeah, it just feels like it's just not fully developed,
Yeah,
and the stakes don't. It doesn't. The stakes don't ever really feel all that high.
no,
Um, and you have people who are living remotely, um, which I think is, it can be, uh, again, the whole thing is it's better to live your life than to,
pretend to live your
experience it.
life. Yeah,
Yeah, and it just feels like they've yet to make the film that really is the convincing argument, which is funny. And this one has a whole big speech about it, and I kind of hate that. I
well,
hate,
and even Ready Player One, as much as I loathe that movie
yeah,
because the book turned into such a slog, um, it doesn't even go all the way there. It just says, well, you have to find a balance.
yeah, and and I think you've got to somebody's got to make a movie, and I think the movie will be made about how reality is better than any simulated sort of thing. Ultimately,
Yeah,
and what that is who knows? We'll see how that gets, if that gets made and when it gets made. I think ultimately it will, and hopefully that movie will not have to end with a speech.
right. Well,
Because if you don't get it, you don't get it. If you didn't
yeah.
sell it, you haven't sold it.
Well, there was, I believe it was an episode of The Outer Limits. Um, I'm gonna look it up real quick, see if I'm lying to myself. Outer Limits. No, it's not gonna tell me. Um, but I believe it was Outer Limits, one of those, where the internet basically had evolved to the point, and now it's actually getting closer because basically everyone had a, well, I'll say it, Neuralink chip in their head.
Yeah.
If you're an Elon Musk follower of that technology, and it allowed them to access information directly, so they didn't have to read books. The book was just kind of like put in their head, and they could access that information.
Hmm.
While one kid, or there are very few people who the chip doesn't work with. So this kid works in what's left of a library, and he doesn't work for him. But so the computers that run everything start going bad, and they start making people sick just because there's a virus, basically. So they all have to disconnect, but none of them can read, so they can't learn, or, so they
Mm.
can't do the things that they need to do to allow society to continue to exist. And he has to teach them all how to read. And so, the guy that couldn't do it is now the most important person. But they
Yeah.
did that in 1 hour or less, like 40
Yeah.
minute episode. So you can take those story elements and do it. And it's not an exact parallel, but it's close. It's just because you can do the thing doesn't mean you should do the thing.
Yeah.
So, but it's, yeah, you're right. I think someone is eventually going to make that movie, and it is going to be spectacular. Right now, people are trying; they're getting close. I don't think, if as a filmmaker, if you can't wrap your head around it completely, you're not going to be able to put it out on the screen. And right now, since Hollywood is fighting over AI,
Yeah.
I think that's actually a limfac preventing that. Someone's going to have to just step farther away. And you almost feel like it's going to be a low budget primer kind of thing.
Yeah. Probably.
You know, and I'm okay with that.
Sure.
I think that would be an interesting way to see how that kind of filmmaker would handle that subject matter. So if you're out there, that kind of filmmaker, um, call us. We'll see if we can help, because we'd be interested in seeing that movie. So yes, Electric State. I don't think it's as terrible as everyone wants it to be.
No, I
Again,
just don't
I
think it's
think
that
it's just
great.
so easy. Everything is either complete dog crap or the best thing
Yeah.
ever, and
Yeah. And
this
it's
is
not. It's
neither.
neither of those.
It's neither of those things. Very few things are either of those things.
Yeah, I mean,
So
again, the art direction probably makes it interesting enough to watch it.
yes, It is, because it does look fantastic. But again, I mean, that's not what they're selling on this one, I don't think. But
No, but I think ultimately that's what is
that's what's going
there.
to be memorable, is how it looked.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a shame it's not a better one. The cast tries, but you're right. I think we just get Star Lord again.
Yeah. And
So
I think that's what they wanted from him.
yeah,
But I
they're
think
trying to.
I think at some point as an actor you either have to say, no, 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 I got to do something different.
I'm talking to you,
Uh,
Ryan Reynolds.
yeah, well, that guy too. So, there's a few actors out there that it's almost like, okay, you got your stick that you're making your money off of, but maybe,
If you consider yourself an actor,
yeah, you
you
might
might
want
want to.
to try some other stuff as well. I
Yeah,
don't know, and maybe they don't, and maybe they don't have any interest. I mean, it's,
it hasn't
certain,
limited Vin Diesel.
no, no.
He's
So,
making his
certain,
money.
well, he's lost a lot of money on a few things as well, but,
Uh,
you know, yeah. So who knows? They're making more money than me. They can decide what they want to do with their own careers. But I would be more interested if they diversified.
yeah, true. So there you go. Like the Electric State, not nearly as bad as that people keep telling you it is, but could have been better. Could
Yeah.
have been better. So there you go. So the Electric State is on Netflix now. Uh, Check it out if you want to. That is great. Looney Tunes. I don't know if it's still in theaters.
It should be.
Um,
Yeah. I
if
mean,
it's if it's not, it won't be long before it's on Max,
well, I
because
don't
it's
know if
Warner
it'll be on
Brothers.
Max, but I don't know if it's going to be that because Ketchup Entertainment took it up. So that's a whole different conversation there.
Oh, they took that. I know they were in. Aren't they?
Yes.
They're working on Acme.
Yes, they're working on that as well, but they are the ones that took this too. So
Hmm.
there's another story there about Warner Brothers and Looney Tunes and whether or not Warner Brothers actually wants to have anything to do with it these days. So
Wow. Well,
hard to
you know
know.
what? If someone takes it, I hope they go all the way to Looney Tunes, because I
Yeah.
think I think I think Hollywood would be surprised if Looney Tunes went Looney Tunes with
Yeah,
features.
it's just weird. I
It
don't
is.
know.
I know. It's like, yeah, I don't know if I want Star Wars anymore. It's like, well, why not? Why would you not want Looney Tunes? You know, I'm waiting for
Yeah.
someone to figure out the Pink Panther's still out there.
Yeah, and that one's we'll see. We'll see that yeah.
So it'd be interesting. It will be interesting to see how that shakes out. But there you go. So Looney Tunes, the day the Earth blew up, and the Electric State, both are both watchable now. One streaming, one
Yes.
in theaters. Check them out. They both have pluses. They both have some
Yes.
minuses, but
Yeah, I think Looney Tunes maybe is overall a better film
yeah.
of the two, but
But the Electric
Electric
State does
State,
have a neat
yeah.
world,
Yes,
and
it
a great
does.
look.
And it's one of those things where it's like I would like to play in that world, and maybe if they had maybe if they had a bigger story, it could have been a series.
Yeah,
This story, I don't think could be a series, but the world could have been a series, and that's why I think I'm disappointed in it because it's a place I want to go, but you have to give me a reason to go there.
exactly, exactly. So there you go. That's it for those two. Um, don't forget to like us, follow us on social media. You know how that works. Go to the website, vsmoviepodcast.com. Get links to everything we write, everything we talk about, uh, and all that stuff. Let us know how we're doing. And go see a good movie in theaters. There are plenty. There's more coming out that we will be talking about when they come out. Hopefully, the next time we talk, I will have more of a voice. That might happen this weekend.
It may happen. We're hoping.
Where I'm definitely hoping, that's for sure. So until we talk to you again, be good, stay safe. I'm Mark. That's Ryan. Bye, Ryan.
See you guys.
And we'll talk to y'all later. Bye bye.